Yeah, the Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you. It's a delight to have Reverend Will McLaughlin with us this morning. About 3 years ago, we approached the Anglican Frontier Mission. Chris Royer was the director of it, and asked if he could recommend someone to us as a potential partner for support and involvement in their ministry. And he recommended the McLaughlins. So we set up a Zoom call with several of us here and talked with Will and Becky, and kind of fell in love with them right away. Felt that they had been gifted and well experienced and had a heart for reaching the unreached of Asia, which is very much part of my heart. And so anyway, we entered into this partnership, and they've been there for the last 2 years. And it's been really exciting to see how they've grown and developed, and we want to welcome Will, and he's going to share something of what they've been doing and where it's at, and how God is providing and guiding. Thank you, by the way, for that very meaningful and impactful message this morning. Thanks for your vulnerability and sharing honestly. All right, I'll turn it over to Will now.
Okay. Wear it like this. Can you hear me okay? All right, perfect. Okay, so like I said, I'm Will McLaughlin, and I'm just so excited to be with you guys this morning. We've just felt so loved and supported by St. Paul's as we're there. People telling us we're praying for you and coming back, and all the prayer and support. We're so grateful. It's been a joy to be with you guys. I've been staying with George Stoll, and he's been very hospitable and feeding me probably too much food. So very, very grateful. So my wife and I live and serve in Cambodia, and this picture became blurry. Hopefully the rest won't become blurry. With this blurry picture, does anybody know what this landmark is? This is called Angkor Wat, which is a little bit like what I say. It's the like the pyramids of Cambodia, and so it's this popular, really popular tourist destination in Siem Reap, which is a city about 3 hours or so, depending on traffic. No, I'm sorry, like 5 hours. Sorry, I was mistaken. 5 hours from the capital city where I live. And we put this here partially because it's this symbol of this pride that Cambodia has in their past. Cambodia is the only flag in the world that has an ancient relic or ancient ruin on their flag. It's a symbol of pride. And this was a beautiful temple city that composed many, many acres that was built around 1000 AD. It's a symbol of, it was this time of Cambodia's like strength and their wealth and their ability to influence other people. And so since then, unfortunately, Cambodia's been in a place of weakness and vulnerability for a long time, but they hold on to this symbol, and they hope that will achieve it again. We know that real strength is only found in Jesus, right? And this temple city is an example of a time when Cambodians are thirsty and hungry spiritually, but they're looking to the wrong places to meet this thirst and hunger for the connection to the divine. So anyway, I've got a bunch of pictures for you guys. Let's see how I do it. Okay, so my wife and I, we staged. We made this. Usually, my wife is with me, so if I'm like looking for her for a punchline, it's because usually she's one foot on the punchline. So these are my kids. This is Liam, and then Reese, my middle daughter, and Finn, my youngest. They're so cute, right? And we have one more, obviously not pictured, still in utero. So this was us on the way to this place that we love to go to. Up, it's only 2 hours away. It was up in the mountains, and actually it's colder. You drive up, it gets a little bit colder, and on the way up, there's vendors selling coconuts and these little flower wreaths. I don't know why, but it's a little extra money for them, and it makes the kids really happy. So we always buy that on the way up there. They've got all their swim stuff on. We're gonna go swimming in a second. So we designed this to have to follow 4 stages of culture shock. So there's the excitement phase, the frustration phase, the adjustment phase, and the acceptance stage. So, by the way, I should have asked before I started, what time do we need to let out?
Well, you're preaching.
10:20, you got about 35 minutes.
A 30 minute? Okay, plenty of time. Okay, so, so the presentation today kind of follows these different stages of culture shock. And the interesting thing about culture shock is that no matter not just moving overseas to a new culture, but even moving within America, maybe you move away to college or something, you experience the same type of thing. So we found it to be a really useful tool in normalizing our emotions as we go through these different phases. And we hope that this might be useful for you as well. So, so first is called the excitement stage. This is my son Liam at an open air market where they sell all kinds of fruit that you have to haggle for to get a good price on and everything. So in the excitement stage, you're all brand new. You know, you get off the airplane and everything is new. And even though you feel uncomfortable, it's still very like exciting. I think I'm getting some feedback.
That's good.
Okay. So everything feels new and exciting. So even if things feel strange or out of place, it's like, I don't care, this feels like an adventure, right? So you start this high point of excitement. So for example, I have a video I'll show you guys in a second, but our first night in Cambodia, it rained, it was monsoon season, or I'll show you some pictures in a second, and it rained a ton. And the neighborhood we were thankfully someone let us stay in their house because they were out of town. So we stayed in this house. It was our first night in Cambodia, and it rained coming up to the doorstep. We thought it might come into the house, but it didn't, thankfully. And they said, "I'm so sorry, this is the worst flood this neighborhood has ever seen." And then the power goes out. And so we're in this like hot house, the water is lapping at the door, right? It's like when God like stopped the waters in Job. It's like, stop here and no further, right? And so we're in this situation, but it was like funny. It was like, oh, this is fun. Like, what a fun adventure we're on, right? Because it wasn't like the normal life yet. Similarly with language learning, when we first, our first few weeks of language class, we learned how to say, hello, my name is Will, I'm from America. And people, when you talk to people like in the playground or parks, and we just practice with them, they were like, "You've been here for 2 months, your Khmer is so good." And we're like, yeah, it is pretty good, isn't it? Because like all I could say is these simple things, but they were like, just like shocked. Like, you can say 4 sentences, you're basically fluent. And and even when we made mistakes, it was like, it's funny, who cares, So this is, again, the excitement phase. Everything feels fun, exciting. So we have some more pictures I'll show you guys in a second. But on the way to school, when you hit traffic or there's a cow blocking the road or all these weird things we see just driving to school every day, it's like, this is fun. Who cares? And so at this early stage, you're all just really excited. So we got some pictures for you. Okay, this is our bags on the way. This is in the Roanoke, Virginia airport. The poor people had to go behind us. They're like, where are you guys going? So this is all of our bags going to Cambodia. And this is us in I think it's in a train in the Atlanta airport, I think. It was a little blurry. So you'll notice this is me. My wife is holding my youngest son, Finn. And this is her mom. She came with us, actually, to help us with the transition. Just for a month, unfortunately. We want her to stay forever. But you'll notice Finn isn't wearing any clothes, and that's because he threw up on his first pair of clothes. No problem. I'm responsible for that. I packed a second pair. Too bad. He threw up on his second pair of clothes, and then he just was naked. So, with a diaper on. But again, it's like this is an adventure. Who cares? It's funny. This is my daughter. She refused to walk, so we stacked everything up, and she sat on top. It was just crazy. So, okay, here's the... Can you guys hear anything?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear the video?
Yeah, we can hear the video.
There's some voices up here. They may be coming from upstairs.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Hold on a minute. What? I have no control over this.
That's okay, you're louder than the video, so.
Well...
It's an adventure.
Okay. It's excitement thing. Okay. I won't worry about it.
Oh, you
So...
lost your screen now.
Minimize the
Oh. So this is weird. My computer is frozen, it looks like. I'm going to have to replug. Is that gonna work? We'll see.
Oh.
Is this intermission?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That's
Why is
next
this, my computer is not responding?
He wants to get more food.
Typical missionary presentation, it always goes wrong.
Well, now I got nothing.
Well,
It's
while you're
okay, we're
doing that,
still in the excitement mode.
I know.
Yeah, that's right.
when's your baby due?
September 27th. How do you control delete on a Mac?
I don't want you on my lap. Yeah, you.
My computer's frozen for some reason, I don't know why. My computer is frozen.
Where's Bill when you need him?
Jack, what's doing?
Dave and Bill. I think that's my cue. I gotta go warm up.
Well, you're in the wrong place because it's cold.
Yes, assistant FBI.
She's almost. Thinking about him having a hard time having this stereo.
Okay, can you all see anything? No. Maybe in a moment. There we go. Okay, let me know if you can, so this has, video has my wife's voice on, let me know if you can hear it or not.
You're at the Bridgewater.
No, it didn't work.
They had her overnight on Sunday, because she came to the parade for the church. Oh, really? And then we just. Huh?
It's on.
Can you hear that or not?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I hear on the computer, but, okay, anyway, so she's just commenting on that, there's this giant flood right here, and the water's coming up all the way. She says, "Isn't the power cut off?" It's inside of the house, the power cut off. Okay, and this other video that I have, it's coming out of the computer, but not.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so this is from the top deck of the house where we're staying, that second day. So these are some Khmer kids just riding their bikes around. Because this is normal life for them, the street floods, and so unfortunately, the sad thing about the flooding is that usually it has sewage water in it. So it's really you see some kids like playing in it, you're like, oh, bad idea. So, but we're stuck inside, but it was okay. It was all like new and exciting. Let's see the next thing. I want to go to the next slide. There it is. Okay. So there's my oldest son, Liam, enjoying his first monsoon. And he's just like, what is this? It's like dumping buckets on my head. And this is at his school, actually, when we were touring the school for the first time. So he's just soaking it up, literally.
It must be nice and warm.
Yeah, well, I said it's really relieving when it rains. We've grown to like really look forward to the wet season. When it starts raining, please rain, and then it rains, and it cools it down, just the whole temperature, it cools down. This is Finn at the playground. Yep. At the time he was still kind of learning how to walk. And now he walks everywhere. But so these are all the little girls who are helping on the playground. And again, like we get a lot of attention from all these different Khmer people because they might have never like played with a little boy with blonde hair before. And at first it was really, really exciting. But after time, you're like, I don't want to stand out everywhere I go. Right? We have another one. Okay, here's a tuk-tuk ride. There we go. This is Becky trying to practice Khmer with these kids. And you can't hear, but they're just laughing at her. They're like, whatever. We don't understand anything you're saying, crazy lady. And she's saying, these are my kids' names and ages. And they're just like, okay. Or she's trying to anyway. Okay, and here's a rainy tuk-tuk ride. So a tuk-tuk is this like three-wheeled, like open air kind of taxi. And you can take them everywhere. So there's Reese and Liam, and they're riding back from school, and it has just rained. And again, this is just normal life. You see just the water everywhere. So it's not raining anymore, really. It's just the residue. It takes a few hours to go back down. It slows everything up. And at first, it was really exciting. Right?
So you saw the sewage.
Yeah. Sewage is not as exciting. I wish it has like a. I'm sorry, it has like a delay when I push the next button. There you go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was driving to school and we encountered this like cowboy, and that was still kind of unusual, but we thought it was a funny video to include. And here we go. I was driving to school and we passed all these cows out in the field, like right in front of the school. Sometimes they look like the cows from Pharaoh's Dream. They're kind of gaunt. Yeah, there's Liam and Reese. This is driving to school. Said hi, cows. Okay, and
Do the cattle wander around with no restrictions?
no, they have people there to watch them, and they sometimes will ride like a small like Honda motorcycle and herd them around with sticks. Yeah. Okay, so these are all the water buffalo, and so I have this picture here on purpose. So this is right across the street from the school, and it's like a beautiful, picturesque scene. But then you see, they're like, what are they eating? Can you see this? It's like just trash. And so this is when like, at a certain point, like I've kind of alluded to already, all this like excitement of the new environment and everything starts to feel like, ugh, this is like my home and there's a lot of trash everywhere. And so part of it's like exciting and fun and beautiful. Part of it's like, this isn't like America. So I think this video should play with you as well. Again, you can't hear my wife is narrating and she's talking to her kids saying, look at all these water buffalo. And they said, there's a baby over there. And so she's going to try to find it and see if she can see it. Yeah, the baby water buffalo. So cute. And so, but they're all like just like eating like the scraps out of the trash. So next we have the frustration phase, where life begins to feel difficult, and everyday activities start to feel kind of stressful. This picture right here is of them like a mobile butcher, and this is just like a normal sight to see. This is how they sell meat, is they just have it so you'll be like on a motorcycle or a tuk-tuk, and you're just like, oh, it's just raw meat right there. And that's like how they sell make their living, right? So life begins to feel more difficult, and everyday activities start to feel stressful. So even like, you're just like, I just want to go to the grocery store and not have to like pantomime my way through a question to somebody. Or like, I want to go somewhere without being like pointed out or like laughed at or something because I stand out so much. In this phase as well, your sleeping and eating habits might become disrupted. You lose your appetite, or maybe a lot of what people talk about is because of the spiritual darkness in Cambodia, people might feel this like spiritual like oppression or spiritual like tension. And so a lot of people talk about having their sleep disrupted. So one of the main things you can pray for us and for our kids is just good sleep. The Bible says he gives his beloved sleep. And that's what we've realized is just such an important thing that we can't give ourselves, just wait for him to give it to us. So you get like homesick, you start to miss the people we miss the people and the land, just the green and the nature in America. You start to feel tired and irritated, and then I mentioned the spiritual elements. So they have this spiritual darkness that it's almost palpable sometimes. You go places, if there's a temple or basically like a place like prostitution or something, you can feel this like kind of like it's like this is a spiritually like heavy place. And the more sensitive you are to that, it's a gift because you can discern the spirits, right, like in the Bible. But it can also feel kind of oppressive because you enter into this spiritually dark place, and you're just asking the Lord to comfort you and to guide you. So, okay, I have more videos for you guys. Here is just a video of us on an overpass, one of the newer overpasses that lets you go fast, actually, and just the view of the skyline. These are the row houses right there. A lot of people live in these types of houses. You see just rows, row, like that. All these row houses.
Was Cambodia a French colony?
It was, yes, it was a French colony. Yeah, so Cambodia, I should have said this at the beginning, but it's in Southeast Asia, right, just south of China. And so it was a French colony, or they had, what do they call it? Anyway, French had like a control over Cambodia until the 60s, so 50s maybe. And so, yeah, so you see the French influence around sometimes. But they don't, it's not a part of the history that they're very like happy with. My wife and I studied French in high school, so we thought, oh, we can go use it in Cambodia. And people advised us, actually don't speak French there because they don't like that part of their history, unfortunately.
Any good French food?
What?
Any good French food?
There is some, yeah, there is some good French food, yeah. One of the biggest surprises there is that there's international food everywhere. So people ask us like, what's your favorite Khmer food? And we're like, maybe Korean or Japanese. You know, there's just so many types of food there. It's really interesting. Okay, and here's the riverside. So this is just the riverfront at night. I think they're doing some sort of big sporting event. They had it on big TVs everywhere. This is everyone watching the TV. And my wife took a video. So this is the riverfront area where there's a lot of great restaurants there and a great place that people watch. All sorts of people kind of come there at night. People selling you seafood and beer or whatever, you know, all over the place. And so this is a sign that says Carlsberg over here. So it's interesting because there's all these paradoxes everywhere we go. So we go to this like the riverfront if we want to go on like a date or something. There's some good restaurants there we like. We go on a date and we walk around and you just see so much poverty everywhere and people begging and people that are disabled begging. And to get to like the place that we often go, the restaurant we don't often go to, you have to drive by this just street just full of places of prostitution and human trafficking. And so it's just this place we say, Lord, come Lord Jesus, come. Like there's only so much we can do by ourselves. Yeah.
What's the currency there?
Yeah, they actually, it's really interesting. They use both dollars and real, which real is the currency. So 1,000 real equals, you want to guess? One quarter. And so 4,000 real is a dollar. And so it's almost like for small purchases, you use real. For bigger things, they use dollar. They just, you know, $20, $50, you can, they do both. And it's a little confusing.
So in comparison, what would a hamburger cost?
Food, like a hamburger would cost similar to here, probably like $10 or something.
And that would be how many real?
40,000.
Yeah. Well, once it gets to bigger numbers, I stop thinking in real. I think more for like small, transactions.
And this is American currency, right?
Yeah. So they, again, kind of the way it works is that for smaller purchases, you do real. For tips and stuff like that, you do real. But once it gets up higher, more than like, so like 10,000 is $2.50, 20,000 is $5, and the biggest bill they have is 50,000, which is $12.50. So, yeah.
What's the political climate here? Are they communist?
No, it's I was supposed to be democratic, but it's not. I don't think it passes the standards for democracy that like the UN has. So, It's supposed to be. It's like a strongman democracy. Is what it's been described. Yep.
What is your most pleasurable, other than serving the Lord, about being there?
It's a great question. Yeah, I'm getting to that as well because it's not all just woes and gripes. But to answer your question, let's see here. There's a lot of beautiful things about it. We love speaking Khmer. We love the people. We love all the different kinds of food you can get there. There's another simple thing is that you can swim any day of the year, and so we go to pools a lot. It's a big part of on like a Saturday we're probably going to a pool somewhere, and they've got a bunch of different types of pools to go to. Yep. Yes.
What is the predominant religion?
Buddhist.
Yeah.
Cambodian Buddhist, which is not like a textbook. If you're like a textbook on Buddhism, it's going to have some parts of that and some parts of the Cambodian folk religion. Yes, ma'am.
What is a typical day like for you?
Yeah, good question. So we take our kids to our two oldest kids to the Christian International School, about 10 minutes away. And then for me, okay, so for the first year, we did language school. So my wife and I would take turns. For 2 months, I would do full-time, she would do part-time, then we'd switch places. So whoever is doing part-time language school is doing full-time parenting. And then, yeah, it's just, yeah, it was pretty crazy. And so, so my kids go to school. Then when we were in language school, the person who wasn't in school would stay with our youngest, and the other person would take a tuk-tuk ride far into the city to our language classes. So now that we're not doing language school full-time anymore, we're still studying, just not full-time. Now my wife has my youngest most days, and I work from home half the time from a coffee shop, where I like to see Khmer people and the other expat friends that I know. And then in morning is usually time for like planning and stuff. And then starting at lunchtime is meetings with people, pastoral care, that type of thing. And then we've decided that just when the kids get home from school, I just help with them, because with all the various pressures, it was too much to have Becky cooking and watching the kids at the same time. So I just help the kids after school. We get
So
everything there.
how many children other than your own are you working with?
Yeah, so I'm I have more pictures coming up, but I'm a pastor of International Church, and so we have on any given Sunday it might be 80 people, including kids. So 30 to 35 of them might be children. There's a lot of kids that go to our church. Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So okay. So this is all the frustration phase, and and this is the Buddhist temple. You have a couple videos of that. So this was on a field trip with our language school. This is a new Buddhist temple. Unfortunately, some of the cleanest, nicest places are Buddhist temples. So there's pictures on the wall from the life of Buddha. Not unlike stained glass, really, if you think about it. And so if we go into these places, we're just praying continually, like, Lord, like, let your spirit come, protect us. This is also a video of outside the temple. And if you could hear, Becky is talking to her Khmer teacher, asking her questions about it. These are just statues. Okay. Okay, so this is the adjustment stage. So the positive and negative experiences kind of combined, and you feel more knowledgeable of the country. And I feel like, okay, I can like run an errand or have a conversation in Khmer, and like sometimes like, oh, that went pretty well actually. Like this way faster than I expected. You get into new rhythms and routines. People ask me, what do you miss about Cambodia? I say, I miss our family routine. Like just having our family, our normal routine, even though it's different than America, we love it. We start to build stronger relationships with people in the new country. So these two girls are girls that my wife Becky does a Friday night ministry. If she was here, she'd tell you a story. But on Friday nights, she teaches Chinese, which is funny because she can't speak Chinese. So one of our friends there who's Chinese, and there's a lot of Chinese people in Cambodia because it's nearby. And one of our friends there is Chinese and a believer, and met Becky in our neighborhood, and she's just one of those kind of go-getters, recruiters. That's just who she is. God made Lily to be that way. And so Lily recruited Becky. Becky, come teach Chinese with me. Becky said, I can't teach Chinese. I don't speak Chinese. And she said, no, you won't have to. Just come on. And Becky said, okay, fine. So she goes, and the first day she said, okay, Becky, now teach them this phrase. She said, I told you, Lily, I can't speak Chinese. And so what ends up happening is that Lily goes to speak Chinese, which is a useful language for the Cambodians to learn. And then, which often happens in developing countries, is all the older kids, 13, 14, 15, they are responsible for watching their siblings. And so when they come to class, they bring their little siblings, right? Because who else is going to watch them? And so Becky takes care of the little siblings while Lily teaches them Chinese. So they draw pictures together. Becky practices her Khmer. They're beautiful. I love their faces. I think they have this much like beautiful faces. So. Okay, this is the adjustment phase where things are starting a little bit easier. So this is our landlord and his wife. We call them Lokru and Nekru, which just basically means like Mr. and Mrs., which is like a polite title to call someone like that. And they love our family. Like no one else that we know has landlords like this. This is a gift from the Lord because they came. This is for Christmas. They came and brought the kids little, presents and treats and stuff for Christmas, and they live right next door. They share a wall with us, and they're so eager to help us. Again, no one has landlords like that. Most of our friends say, "Oh, I don't even have his number. I should have fixed everything myself." And so they're really generous people, and they don't know the Lord yet, but we're praying they would meet Jesus. Yeah. And this next picture is us playing at the park nearby. So we were singing Christmas carols with some of our Australian friends. And so we're singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and this is my daughter and her friend. And so we just thought this would be a fun way to get to know some people. And so we sang some secular Christmas songs and some Christmas kind of hymns as well. And just talking about what Christmas means. And it was just a way to build community in our neighborhood. This is the playground next to our neighborhood, which we're so grateful for. Again, not everyone has that, so we feel like that's a gift from the Lord.
About 10 minutes, Will.
10 minutes left?
Yep.
No problem. Okay, this is also in the playground. This is us playing soccer. And, we just brought a soccer ball, and then all the kids want to play with us. And so here we're all playing soccer, and you can watch my wife as the goalie. And this kid's trying to score on her. It's really funny. Yeah. So we should just watch her in action, though. She's unstoppable. It's like a brick wall. And so this was just like a fun way to meet people. And in a second, you'll see what happens when she kicks a kid in the head with a soccer ball in accident. And so, but if Becky was here, she would say, and that's one way we share the gospel. So, but it's just this phase of okay, we have our normal places, things to do as a family. We're present in our neighborhood. We're making friends there, and so we're okay, we're doing it. It's the acceptance phase. This is Becky's Friday night ministry where she teaches the kids. They're singing the song. I'll play it for you, then you can't hear it. They're singing the song in Khmer. They're saying, "Jesus Christ, we're one family." Yeah.
Did you have to learn, I mentored and still do, even though he's in his 30s, a Cambodian boy in this area.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and the culture is so different that there's things, for example, he used to never look at me in the eyes.
Sure.
And I always thought there was something wrong with that, and I was kind of saying, "Look at me," and that's a culture thing. They don't look
Correct.
in the eyes. So did you have to learn about their culture prior to going?
Some prior to going, and then some once we got there. But yeah, looking people in the eyes, especially someone. So age and your place in society is really important to consider. So whenever they're talking to someone, they're trying to figure out what title should I use, partially based on age and partially based on your place in society, which I haven't quite mastered how these two things blend together. It's if my teacher is younger than me, what should I call them? But and then also looking at them in the eyes would be seen as too forward with someone who's older or someone that they respect. Yep. Another thing that I still forget sometimes, they never shake hands. It was actually so refreshing today, shaking hands with everybody, because I just was I missed it, And in Cambodia, I used to do this with everybody, yeah. And so I'll forget and go shake hands, and they just look at it oh no, what should I do? Yeah, a lot of little things that you're not supposed to, there's all kinds of things involving dirt as well, taking off your shoes when you go inside. You're not supposed to point with your foot. That's very disrespectful, that kind of thing. Yes?
Has technology invaded them?
Yes. Yeah, the younger generation, it's just that you'll see the same types of problems you have here of people addicted to their phones. But the technology isn't all a bad thing. It also gives a lot of people some work and opportunities. For example, we order tuk-tuks through an app on our phone, and we order food. We can order food through an app on our phone. It gives a lot of people jobs, because they are able to work as tuk-tuk drivers or food deliverers or something. So there's some good things about it. Unfortunately, another big thing is that when families move to Phnom Penh to find work, they might not have their grandparents there, and so the kids are without childcare. And so parents will bring their kids to work and then give them a phone to watch where they're working. That happens a lot. And that's not good for a kid to be on a phone all day like that. Yeah. So. Ideally, they'd be with their grandparents, but again, they had to find work in the city. Yes?
How does you mentioned strategy society is very important.
Yeah.
How does that affect the life of the parish, international parish?
Yeah. So it's tricky because, okay, so this isn't exactly your question, but they shed some light on it. So when we read about Jesus in the Bible, they have a whole group of Khmer words that they use to describe what kings do. So normal people, they have a certain word for sleep, but kings have a different word for sleep. Normal people do have a certain word for eat, kings have a different word for eat. And so when they read the Bible, and they have this kingly language for Jesus, they picture him as a little bit like I said this morning, like far off and distant, and they can't get close to him. And so you're trying to always teach people, like, yes, he is worthy of all praise, he is our king, but also we can draw near to the throne of grace, right? So that's a difficult thing. And then, so how does it affect church? I think one of the reasons that the Anglican Church is actually a good place for mission there is because they're used to all these the structure within an Anglican Church is exactly what they're used to, and I think in like a good way it provides them a sense of like comfort of like if they walk into a church and they're like, you know, like who's in charge here? It would feel very like uneasy for them, and so to have someone who's their friend but also their pastor in an obvious place of authority and as the discipler and the shepherd of the congregation, I think it's comforting for them. Yeah. Are we almost done? Should I just do question and answer?
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay. Let's see here. Don't want to go over time as the preacher. Okay, so this is the acceptance phase. This is at our international church. This was from pictures for Easter. Becky did these flowers. It looked amazing. So you better understand the language. And actually, to be honest, I'm not quite sure we're totally at the acceptance phase yet. We're still probably like adapting. But you begin to realize that like, okay, like this culture has some things that are different, but they're not bad, they're just different, and begin to like accept these different parts of the culture. So I have a couple, okay, these are a couple of videos. This was our Christmas Eve service, and so some examples of the families that worship with us. And they love these types of church calendar things as Cambodians, because in the Buddhist, there's like a ton of Buddhist holidays, and so a lot of times they get brought into the evangelical church and they say, okay, what are the holidays? And they say, Christmas, Easter, and like, that's it? Like, I left with all these holidays. So for them to have all these like tangible things to do that praise and worship Jesus in their life of discipleship and life together, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool. Yeah. This is us baptizing with this guy, Anthony. He's on the church plant team with me. He's in the ordination process. We're baptizing his daughter, Noelle. And that was on Easter. Here's for Monday, Thursday, and the foot washing. Again, more tangible things to express their discipleship is a wonderful tool for them. This is communion. I'm praying for one of Liam's best friends in our international church. Here you go. There's our international church. This is the getting ready for our baptism. On Easter, we got to baptize 8 people, which is wonderful. For being there for 2 years, I'm just so humbled. So it was 1 baby, 5 adolescents, expat kids, most of them from America, Australia, New Zealand, and then these 2 Khmer young men over here. And so this is the international church, and the international church has a fun role because we get to pastor and disciple expats who are there for in various missional purposes. Maybe they're there as teachers, as doctors, as anti-trafficking work, Bible translators, and they're not planting a church, but they need a place where they can be discipled in their heart language and to be poured into as they pour out all week. And so that's the kind of the role of the international church that we have. Yep. And a few more pictures. This is me baptizing George. He's I think he's back in America now, actually. This is our baptism. It took forever to set this thing up, trying to figure out where to buy this pool from. Okay, this is me baptizing this Khmer young man. And, when you do your job and you think, this is not what I signed up to do sometimes, you know? So when I gotta go like fix a toilet, I'm like, I don't want to come to Cambodia to fix a toilet. But in this exact moment, I remember thinking, this is exactly what I wanted to do when I came here. Yeah, so young man got baptized. Another one, and I think we're about done. There you go. more pictures. This is at the cross. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, if you have any questions, I'm not sure how much time we have. Cut me off whenever we need to.
Is this leading towards developing strictly a Khmer worship service as well?
Yeah, so we already have, that's a good question to address yet. So we already have a Khmer worship service as well. The main church that we planted from has 3 language services, English, Mandarin, and Khmer. And so the goal of the plant would be to have the same 3. We have the English service that I lead and the English congregation that I shepherd. And then the Khmer service is led